astrologer here at Sage Goddess, and I'm excited to talk with you today about what I'm considering to be a very exciting, meaningful astrology transit. And I want to first say that I just went live in some other space or place where I wasn't supposed to go live, so I am now in the right feed. So I am waiting a second just to make sure that the feed actually shows up. I know Karen's going to join me. She's always my partner in these lives, so I'm just going to make sure. And in the meantime, I will just kind of give a little bit of high level about what I want to talk about today. So today, June 1st, 2023, we are having Jupiter conjunct hi, Joanne. Okay, so the feed is working. Awesome. Yeah, all right, so at least two people are here. Tanya, hi. Okay, it's working. Thank you for confirming for me that it works. So today, June 1st, 2023, we have Jupiter aligning with or conjunct the North Lunar Node. And this particular transit is going to be, or this conjunction, and if you don't know what a conjunction is when planets come together in alignment. Now, in the sky, you don't actually see them sitting on each other, but they're close. They're at what we call the same degree. And so you can think of them as sort of merging their energy together. So right now, the two energies we're talking about merging together are Jupiter and the North Lunar Node, or we sometimes just call it the North Node. This conjunction is exact today, June 1st at 5:43 p.m. Pacific time. But we've been feeling it for a number of days. There's like a zone, or we call it an orb, for aspects like the conjunction. So we've already been in the zone, but today we are right at the peak, right at the exact energy. And so a couple of things. One, I want to talk about what it means, or at least kind of what I feel that it means, how we can work with this energy together. And then poor Karen, she puts up with me well. So last night, like last minute, I mean literally like 4 minutes, before our workday ends, I decide that I'm going to write these little mini horoscopes for everyone for this transit today. So I have that to share with you as well. And I'm very excited because I'm finding that for me, these little spontaneous last minute, hey, we all need a message, is working. And so I'm honored to be able to share it with you here today. So I will do that. But let's first talk about Jupiter conjunct the North Node in the sign Taurus. When I am thinking about any kind of aspect, and that's what this is, and another word you can think about for aspects are really angular relationships that the planets or points make with each other. And you can think of that. So you also have aspects in your chart, right? When you were born, this is another way to think about it. I just came back from the Northwest Astrological Conference, and this has been on my mind a lot. We did a lot of talking about how we talk about a chart and we look down at this piece of paper that it's a chart, but what your birth chart really is just a little map of the sky at the moment you were born. So we are not really looking down at a paper. We're trying to imagine what was that sky like. So when we work with astrology, it's good to remember let's return to the sky. Remember, what was visible, where things were in the actual sky. They're not just symbols on a piece of paper. But when you think about aspects, you can also think of aspects as conversations between different planets, right? They're trying to work things out, or one's trying to influence another. And when I think about planets in astrology, planets represent different parts of us collectively and us individually. So when I talk about Jupiter, yes, it's a planet in the solar system, but it also represents something in us collectively and something in each of us individually. So when we think about aspects, and in this case, the conjunction with Jupiter and the North Node, I always first like to stop and say, okay, what are those planets that we're dealing with? What do they represent? So let's start with Jupiter, right? Jupiter is the planet of growth and expansion and truth, beliefs, lived experience, philosophy, context, right? Jupiter wants to broaden and expand our view, for us to move into the unknown, to embrace new opportunities, to grow and to evolve. One of the ways I've been thinking about Jupiter a lot lately is, yes, it is traditionally linked with beliefs, but Jupiter actually takes us a step beyond beliefs. It takes us into what I would call a space of knowing, or that space of lived experience where we don't need to quote unquote believe in something because we know it. We've experienced it, right? So Jupiter, so these are some things, Jupiter's a big, huge field. There are whole books written on Jupiter, and we could spend the whole day talking about Jupiter. It is also about our relationship with wealth and abundance and opportunity and what we call good luck or fortune, right? Because with Jupiter, it's linked with, in the tarot, the Wheel of Fortune card. And being fortunate or lucky is about being available for life to happen. Many of you have heard me say this before, but with Jupiter, good things happen, and whether it's make more money, meet new friends, have this new opportunity across the world, or have this literal awakening within myself, my third eye blows open, which are all Jupiter type things, that happens because we are available for it to happen. So Jupiter is an invitation to be available for more. Jennifer, that's beautiful. Your awareness is expanding. That's your Jupiter. And Jupiter, by the way, is very directly linked with the third eye. Right? It is how we're able to see and beyond just our human eyes. So that's Jupiter. Now let's put it together with the North Lunar Node, or the North Node of the Moon, right? The North Node, and in this case, represents our collective path of Dharma or destiny, right? It is how we're all trying to grow into something more, how we're all trying to evolve as a collective. And you can think of this individually, right? It's your own growth or your own dharma or your own path of destiny. And all those words sound kind of lofty and fancy, and they're not. Many of you have heard me say this Pema Chodron quote, and I feel like I say it almost every time now, but it's worth it because I have it literally pinned up next to my desk at home, and I remind myself all the time. I don't have it in front of me, so again, I'll probably somewhat butcher it, but I'm going to give it a go because it's helpful here, right? Dharma is not a philosophy. It's a way to cook yourself. It's a way to soften the toughest pieces of meat so you can know who you are. That's what we're talking about with North Node. How do we need to stretch and grow within ourselves and within life to experience more? So put that with Jupiter and the opportunity to expand and see our path of growth or our path of destiny or our path of Dharma. It's expanded. We can see more and we can do more with it. In my forecast, which is probably up in a meme, I'm guessing, on main page at this point in time, if you want to see it in its pretty version, and I think on Instagram it will be there as well. But this is the copy that I wrote for it. Lucky Jupiter aligns with the path of destiny, our North Lunar Node, and this restores hope. And by hope, we don't mean waiting, wishing, and expecting something better. We mean the power of inspiration and imagination that lives in and rises out of each of us, especially in the difficult times. And I chose an Emily Dickinson quote, the one that many of you probably already know, but I felt like it really embodies this energy today of Jupiter conjunct the North Node in Taurus. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. That's part of what we're leaning into now. So, Jupiter, it asks us to believe in goodness. Sometimes I say I read somewhere about how Jupiter in your chart, Jupiter in your life, Jupiter this transit today, it calls on all angels, meaning all the ways that we can help, that we can be generous, that we can be comrades, that we can help each other expand, to have more, to feel more, to do more, to be more. And what's so cool about this, you guys, I get a little teary-eyed feeling into it clearly, is that in the sign Taurus, you can really manifest it. You can really root it. You can bring it into the body. It doesn't just stay up in the clouds of some, fancy ideal of here's what my dreams could be. We can pull it right in and do something with it, even if it's small, right? We also talk about Jupiter in the sense of, in contrast with Saturn, let me just say, and I love Saturn, so this is in no way trying to put Saturn in a small or a tight or uncomfortable place, although we do that all the time. Saturn work, you kind of have to really put in the effort over an extended period of time. You got to have discipline. Like with Saturn, you can't just, for example, eat healthy one meal and then expect your whole physique to change. You got to put the effort in consistently. With Jupiter, there's something magical about giving a little gives you more. So don't underestimate one little shift today. Don't feel like you have to change an entire, huge pattern or a whole way you do something. Pick one small thing, and this Jupiter conjunct the North Node will help you embody, help us collectively shift forward. It's almost like if you give 1%, right, the universe through Jupiter, and Jupiter is very much to me linked with spirit, right? Jupiter is in some ways how spirit comes in and through to us. That then picks up the other 99%, right? It can happen. Yeah, Sarah's saying that she has a masochist relationship with Saturn. Well, so we all have interesting relationships with the planets. I got to tell you, in my personal chart, if I could show you, Jupiter is a big deal for me. It's something I'm reclaiming. It's something that it's like we call it a skip step in my chart. And so for me, Jupiter sometimes is the big looming, too much for me. So everybody has different things that push our buttons. For me, leaning into Jupiter is really trusting that I can be in a space or a place or a conversation in a way that I haven't been before, that I have no reference point, and I will still be okay. And that's how I grow, right? But that's also scary. Okay, so back to what I was saying in here. So Jupiter asks us to believe in goodness and help each other. The North lunar node symbolizes our collective intention for growth, as I mentioned before. So in Taurus, this means we can do more with what we have, and we have more wealth. Define wealth for however you want, right? Wealth in money, wealth in time, wealth in friends, wealth in any kind of resource, wealth in spiritual connection, right? But we have more wealth than we realize. We just need to see it from a new view. That's the thing, right? Jupiter says, come on, make more room. Make space. When you open up this space, when you create spaciousness, something new can drop in, right? So, does anybody have questions before I jump into my mini horoscopes? Yes, Sarah, yes. Jupiter makes a square aspect with both of my nodes, my south and north node. This gets a little complicated for some people, but yeah, for those of you who know, that's exactly it. In evolutionary astrology, any planet that forms a square with the south and north node is what we call a skip step, and it's something in particular that you've come to this lifetime to reclaim. And you can think of it, I think of it, and I've learned it as if your kind of whole life is this puzzle, but there's a piece or a few, some people have more than one skip steps. Once you integrate or invite that energy back into your life on your own terms, that puzzle piece drops in and everything has new flow. Yeah. Do a little, get a lot. Yeah, I'm a big fan of do a little, get a lot too. Yeah. Okay, cool. So, you're welcome to ask questions. Keep on asking if you want to. I don't see anything particular here, so I'm going to jump right into my mini horoscopes. And with horoscopes, I always encourage you to read for your sun, or to listen in this case, for your sun and your rising signs. And also, please know that with astrology, even if Aries is not your sun or your rising sign, you may have a lot of Aries in your chart or a lot of planets in your first house, which is another Aries type signature, or Mars may be really strong in your chart. And so you may resonate with the Aries one. I always say, pick up and take what resonates and what works for you. Don't worry so much about the rules or the technique. All right. Oh, here's a question. Amy Link is asking, can that mean physical space too, as I am expanding in the wealth and abundance of my growing twins in my womb? Yes. Well, first, congratulations. Yes. The space can be any space. Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. Even ways we haven't defined space. It's wherever you need more room. and wherever things are growing for you. And sometimes we don't even know they're growing. Sometimes we don't know that we have like a certain area of our life, we've sort of like shoved it away and it's like cobwebs are growing there. And Jupiter's like, no, look at it. There's more, right? Yeah. And in this case, because it's conjunct the North Node, that moving towards that, if this may be helpful to some of you, it is to me. When I think of the North Node, the South Node represents kind of where we've come from, old habits, also old gifts, so we don't leave the South Node behind. It's about integration. But the South Node, when we're looking at a birth chart, for example, represents the self-identity that we've created for ourselves in the most recent past life, right? So I have a South Node in Gemini, so we can say in my most recent past lives that I created a Gemini type personality to go about doing my work and expanding and growing and learning and all those things. Well, now I have a North Node in Sagittarius. So the North Node represents the energy or the field of consciousness, the part of me that I want to experience more in this lifetime. So I want to experience myself more as a Sagittarius. I want to experience myself more in that Sagittarius realm. So for us collectively, having the North Node in Taurus, we have been, over the past almost a year and a half, been trying to move more into that Taurian energy, which is about roots and stability and security and abundance and self-sufficiency. So thinking about Amy, this beautiful, thinking about, those twins growing inside of you, that's such a beautiful, real example of this energy happening in that way. But we all, in our own way, are growing metaphorical babies somewhere, somehow. Yeah. And you guys, one more thing to think about as well, before I move on to the mini horoscopes, is that the nodes are going to change signs very soon. On July 17th, they're going to move to Aries and Libra. Now, the nodes naturally move retrograde. So they don't go from Taurus to Gemini. They go from Taurus back to Aries, for example, with the North Node. Yeah. Okay, Misty's asking, I don't understand where the North Node is. In your own birth chart, you can run a free chart and you can find it there. Sometimes it's called the true node. There's actually two ways to work with it, true node and mean node. There's a very subtle difference between the two, but you might see it that way. And it looks like, I don't have in front of me, let me see if I can draw for you what it looks like in my not so fabulous handwriting. Can you guys see? This is up here. Whoa, here. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it looks like a horseshoe. Yeah, that's the North Node. And the South Node is that same image flipped upside down. Yeah. Okay, so so Sarah's asking, is true node better than mean node? Astrologers just have different opinions on which ones they use. I use true node. Other famous astrologers use mean node. So and there is a very subtle difference between them, but if you're interested, check it out. But to me, one's not better. It's kind of just what you choose. So what I want to mention here is that with this big sort of oomph of Jupiter conjunct the North Node in Taurus, we're getting this big infusion of what can we do with this Taurus energy to help move us towards our path of destiny collectively. Because on July 17th, the nodes change signs and the North Node will then be in Aries, right? Which is different energy. So I feel like in some ways this is a last big push. It's Jupiter saying, come on, you guys. Like, what can you do with this Taurus? Where do you still need to simplify? Where do you need to stabilize? We've been talking about Taurus in some ways as moving away from maximalism and moving more towards minimalism, right? Because there is an aspect of Taurus, I'm sure have heard me say, of quality over quantity, right? And not getting so worked up or overwhelmed about too many things. Taurus is like, I'm going to pick what has value, meaning, and purpose. I'm going to dig in and I'm going to, with determination, get it done. Yeah. It doesn't get caught up in the overwhelm or the dramatics, right? Taurus is like, what do we actually need to be sustainable? And Taurus also links us back with Mother Earth, right? Which we all know is a big issue right now for all of us on the planet. Okay. So I think that's enough around that. Let me go into the mini horoscopes. So again, listen for your sun and rising sign or anything else that feels like it fits for you. Aries. For Aries, this conjunction of Jupiter in the North Node is in your second house. You are worth more. Act like it. And your color, I just intuitively chose colors here, guys. So I didn't go through some methodology of correspondences. I just went with my gut. Your color is fuchsia. So to the extent that that helps you today. Taurus. This conjunction is in your first house. You are stronger than ever. Unstoppable. And your color is yellow. Gemini, the conjunction is in your 12th house. Your dreams are just waiting for you to embody them. And your color is lavender. Cancer, the conjunction is in your 11th house. Go big when it comes to community. You have more allies. You just haven't discovered them yet. And your color is turquoise. Leo, the conjunction is in your 10th house. You are the boss, period. And your color is neon green. Virgo, the conjunction is in your 9th house. Take a little risk for a big reward. And your color is silver. Libra, the conjunction is in your 8th house. Push buttons, open closets, get messy. Your color is tangerine. Scorpio, the conjunction is in your 7th house. Make a deal and shake or sign on it. And your color is cotton candy pink. Sagittarius, the conjunction is in your 6th house. Something in you is healed. Believe it. Your color is sky blue. Capricorn, the conjunction is in your 5th house. You get further when you love it. Choose love. And your color is white. I know white is not a real true color, but you still get white, Capricorn. Aquarius, the conjunction is in your 4th house. Put down some roots, within or without. Your color is gold. And this one I'm imagining like shimmering, glimmering gold. Yeah. Pisces, the conjunction is in your 3rd house. Tell or write a little story. Let it show you the next step. And your color is indigo. All right. Thank you, Karen, for typing all of this stuff in there. Tanya is saying, Scorpio. What is it, the cotton candy pink that threw you? I actually found it funny for Scorpio myself, but, I get what I get. Yeah. Anybody have anything you want to share or add? I'm intently watching the chat now, in case there's anything that you want to bring through. Not just questions, but if you have something you want to share. Yeah. Karen, it was barely in advance, but yes. Most of you know, Karen's one day I will be delighted if Karen can visually be here with me, because that's how it always feels. Yeah. Well, you're welcome, you guys. Tanya is saying that pink totally threw me. Yeah, colors are weird, man. It's interesting, but yeah. Okay. Well, I don't see anything else going on here, but I want to thank everyone for being here. You can post in our groups. You can share other insights you have, especially as we move through some of these interesting times. I know, especially with reading my own horoscopes for myself as a Cancer, going big when it comes to community, part of that is doing that with you. So thank you for being my community. And I know Karen's probably put the posts in here, but if you like astrology and you want to be with us more of the time, I co-teach Living Astrology with Athena, and we would love to have you. Love to have your voice and have your heart as part of our group. And otherwise, I'll be back again for more of this. Yeah. Okay. Love you guys. Have a great day.